The Nifty closes above 22,100 for the first time ever. All sectors except real estate and IT end in the green. Mid-caps were in line with frontline indices.
Novartis announces a strategic review of its shareholding in the listed entity in India. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that Dr. Reddy's is in the race to acquire that business. Both the stocks gain in trade.
A three-way demerger boosts Quess Corp stock rallies 9%. Paytm locked in the upper circuit for the second day running as RBI, after Friday post-market hours, last Friday post-market hours, extended deadline to the 15th of March. Additionally, the parent 197 Communication shifts the nodal accounts to Axis Bank for settlement of merchant payments. PB Fintech is also a big gainer today as the insurance regulator, IRDAI, has given the nod to PB Fintech to be able to sell reinsurance products. Hello and welcome to a fresh new edition of Markets Forward, your go-to show where we aim to get you everything that you need to know as we wrap up one trading session and look to the next one. That is tomorrow, Tuesday. I'm Prashant Nair. With me, my colleague Sudip. Sudip, hi.
Hi, Prashant. So records conquered once again, fresh all-time highs, lots of momentum, but also some profit-taking, right?
Yeah, I mean, last hour we actually saw some profit-taking, and it became a two-way kind of a market, not a one-way runaway rally that it looked like we'd have, I mean, mid-session, etc., right? I mean, so just to kind of recap what happened in terms of trade, just a quick sort of look at that. We had the Nifty, which sold off about 60 points from the day's highest level, and you ended around exactly the previous highs. 22,126 point something was the last high. The first time we got to that level was the 15th of January, about a month ago, and then there were a couple of sort of hits on at that level. So there's a clear resistance line. It's a month old, but for what it's worth, once again, the Nifty, many will point to today's price action and say that, well, that resistance line has been respected once again, and the market's not been able to take it out. So that's point number one. It looked much better early on in the session when we were actually closer to 22,200 kind of levels. Now, for the Nifty Bank, it was a positive session. The resistance is 46,824. I mean, for the Nifty Bank as well, I mean, gains, some of the gains were given back. And if you look at the candle, we ended in the middle of the range. 46,824 is a 61.8% retracement of the sharp and swift fall, the last one that we had. In the broader market, advanced decline was mixed. 1,500 stocks higher and about 1,000 stocks lower. So it was not one way, it was two way. And there were many stocks, actually large liquid names, which fell on volumes as well. And just one last thing, US markets are not trading today. So in a way, we'll have Asia for company, but otherwise from the US side, not very much by way of cues with the focus on rates, equities there, etc. An important data point, an important input as we come back every day. Surabhi.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, let's just pull up the intraday graphs as well to illustrate that point that Prashant was making. If you see the Nifty intraday, it was a nice cruising market till about 2:30. And that is when the profit-taking kind of set in and we started giving off some of those gains. But there was still green on the screen. Now, if you're looking at, ditto for the Bank Nifty as well, by the way, the Bank Nifty was up a good 0.6%, and then the profit-taking set in. Talk about the index constituents first. Very, very mixed today. You have unlikely gainers like a Grasim leading the charge on the Nifty. You had a couple of auto stocks that had a good run. A stock like ICICI Bank was doing well. But if you look at the flip side of the screen, then Coal India was a disappointment. We'll talk about that as we go forward. And you had IT, which was not quite playing ball. So very mixed divergent trends coming in. A Larsen & Toubro, for instance. So very, very mixed kind of moves taking place on the Nifties. There you go. Reliance was the one that was really supporting the bulls' cause in the second half of the day. Now come to the Bank Nifty contributions. Once again, and similar situation playing out here. There's ICICI Bank and SBI. They were pretty much the lone rangers, really, because while they were trying to push things higher, HDFC Bank, with its consistent underperformance, didn't really help matters. And then there were a clutch of other private sector banking names that were actually down and out today. So that was the picture. But overall, the advanced decline ratio was still positive, and the mid-cap market had a fair share of the high flyers. So perhaps a good day all in all. So let's get started and then tell you what all we are covering on the show. As usual, it's a packed 20 minutes ahead. First and foremost, we'll of course tell you about the movers and shakers. We'll have Hormas with all of the action beyond some of the names that I've mentioned. Then, of course, we will talk about several stocks in focus. And today's list includes Paytm, Quess Corp, where the demerger has come in, and also Dr. Reddy's. We'll tell you more about all the buzz surrounding Reddy's as we go forward. Last but not the least, we'll take a look at all the key events to watch out for tomorrow. But before we get to it, let's start with the big movers and shakers of the day. Hormaz.
We highlighted this in the morning as well, right? The market making highs, not sustaining at those levels, and we saw that in the last hour of trade as well. And as we spoke during the between the 11 to 12 wheel about the railway stocks that were doing very well, at one point they were all up 7%, 8%, but all of them saw a vertical slide from the highest point of the day in line with the market movement there. RVNL, IRFC, IRCON, all of them ending significantly off the highest point of the day. RVNL was up almost 10% at one point, ending only 5.5% higher. News came in towards the end of trading. Coal India, the first thing that came about was the fact that it will miss its production targets for FY24. Nuama, although is already estimating a lower target for the company, but as Nigel highlighted in closing bell, that the street is worried about the e-auction premiums, and that is what spooked the street. They're 4% lower for Coal India. On the flip side, a PSU that did very well in today's session was NHPC, 4.5% higher there. This fifth day of gains, and the 15% fall that it had in Monday's trading session, which was last Monday, it has recovered all of that in the last 5 days of gains. What an unlikely gainer in today's session, we don't talk about this stock a lot of very often, was Force Motors, 9.5% higher today. And there's not the first time that this has gained. It's been up for the last 2-3 sessions, up 33% now in the last 3 trading sessions. Market cap crossing 7,000 crores in today's session. Arvind Smart Spaces, some news flow coming in there. Its entire inventory in one of its projects in Bengaluru was sold out in just 7 hours, 10% higher there, and it's up almost 150% over the last 12 months. A fertilizer stock that did well, another PSU, that's FACT, and inclusion in the FTSE All World Index, and another 6% higher today off the day's high, but it's up almost 250% in the last 12 months. Another news flow that took place towards the close of trade was a block deal that happened in Kotak Mahindra Bank, almost worth over 400 crore rupees. The stock fluctuating a little, underperforming the market today, and almost 24 lakh shares changing hands in today's session. And lastly, MRPL, that has had a stellar move over the last 5 trading sessions and a double-digit gains in 4 out of the last 5 sessions. It was only Friday that the stock was down a bit, but it's up almost 150% in this year itself, and we are not even first 2 months complete into the new year. Back to you.
All right. Thanks very much, Hormaz, for that. That's a comprehensive wrap of what happened in the day's action that we saw. Shilpa Rout of Prabhudas Lilladher is with us, and so is Sudip Bandyopadhyay of Inditrade Capital. Thanks both of you for joining us here. Sudip, just a quick word on the market. Should we make much of this sort of the recent high, which the Nifty, at least for the last 1 month, has not been able to take out? Many have kind of alluded to the fact that, well, slowly but surely, most triggers are sort of being priced in very fast. So you've got to look for something new, incremental, and that is kind of hard to come by. Any thoughts? I'm talking about the near to medium term here as far as market trajectory goes.
We believe that definitely there is a positive bias. After every correction and fall, I think we've been seeing market again moving up to newer highs. While it hasn't crossed that 15th January levels yet, but I think we would see that very soon. There is structurally nothing negative. There are geopolitical tension. There are issues happening in Russia-Ukraine war as well as in the Palestine front. But the oil prices have remained within a range, which is good for India. The reform story of India continues. There hasn't been any letting up in that because of the elections. So I think we are on a positive trajectory. The only small niggling factor has been that we are not getting too much of equity investment from FPIs. They are bringing in a lot of money, loads of money in debt. But the FPI equity investment has slowed down. They actually have been taking out money. But I think it's a matter of time before that also starts happening. And we will have a positive bias for the market, definitely, even in the short to medium term.
Okay, that's a take on the fundamentals. We also have Shilpa Rout with us. So let's get a quick technical check on today's surge and then the kind of profit booking that we had. Shilpa, hi, good to have you on the show. So more records being broken today. What do you make of the momentum?
Hi, Sudip. As mentioned, we have been talking about this for the past 1 week or so. That Nifty finding support at 21,500, and from there, time and again we will test 21,850 and move past that. You will see that all-time highs having, coming in. So this is what we saw for Nifty. Talking about Bank Nifty, we see that this 46,800 is acting as a, I wouldn't say a very crucial resistance, but yes, a minor resistance. But given the kind of movement we saw today, I believe tomorrow we might see a good gap up, and this levels can be taken out, and then again Bank Nifty will head towards 49,000.
Okay, got it. So that's sort of the first cut view coming in as far as the near term is concerned. But let's talk about individual names, and we'll sort of get both of your reactions on these. Paytm for the second day running was up the circuit, which is 5%. Daily limit is 5% now. So last Friday, post-market hours, the extension, 15-day extension from the Reserve Bank of India came, and of course, Axis Bank is on board to shift some of its to shift Axis Bank's merchants on its platform. Ritu is here with the details of this and what this could mean. Ritu, over to you.
Well, Prashant, it's a small breather for Paytm Payment Bank, with the Reserve Bank extending the deadline for the curbs to kick in on its banking business, its wallets, FASTags by 15 days to the 15th of March from February 29th earlier. But for all other banking activities, RBI has indicated in its FAQ that customers would have to move their accounts elsewhere, whether it is for EMI payments, their wallets, OTT subscription payments, etc., by the 15th of March. But yes, Paytm has got itself a lifeline of sorts, if you'd call it that. It has moved its nodal escrow account to Axis Bank from Paytm Payments Bank to be able to allow its merchants to continue using the Paytm QR POS or sound box to accept payments. But keep in mind, this is only going to be helpful for those merchants that have their bank accounts linked with other banks and not Paytm Payment Banks. Remember, the company had earlier indicated that about 10 to 15% of its merchant base of 4 crores have their bank accounts linked to Paytm Payment Banks. For these customers, they'd still have to shift to other banks to continue using the services. Now, Jefferies has moved Paytm, its parent 197 Communications, to not rated from underperform rating until it says the news flow settles down. It says that without a banking license, Paytm's business model will be similar to any other pure play payment provider like your Google Pay or Phone Pay, and it expects that Paytm would have to dip into its 8,500 crore rupee cash reserves to spend on retaining users. Bernstein believes that the extension, as on one hand, and RBI hinting that merchants will be able to use the QR codes if they're not linked to Paytm Payment Bank, is an incremental positive. But the fact that the FAQ did not give any explicit exception for a bulk transfer of these wallets and FASTags to another bank is a negative. Similarly, Citi noted that the FAQs do not directly address bank partnerships with Paytm, but the fact that there's been a nodal account partnership with Axis will likely pave the way for other such ones.
Okay, all right, Ritu. So at least some positive, though of course it doesn't anywhere near cover a lot of the concerns that surround Paytm at this point in time. Thank you for joining in. Well, let's now talk about the other stock of the day, and that was PB Fintech. It was up and away for this one. The stock was up almost 8% higher after the insurance regulator granted the company an in-principle approval for a composite license. However, of course, a final approval is still awaited. So what does this mean? What potentially does it open up for PB Fintech? Let's ask Yash. Yash, tell us details.
Well, Surabhi, of course, the main reason for the excitement was the information which the company provided to exchanges over the weekend, which is that it has received an in-principle approval from the insurance regulator to upgrade its license to a composite insurance broking license from a direct insurance broking license. Now, just to explain the difference, if you're a direct insurance broker in the life and general insurance business, you can only do those two businesses. But with a composite license, what happens is that PB Fintech will also be allowed to do reinsurance broking business, which itself is a very, very large market. Now, of course, the street was excited considering the business opportunity as far as the reinsurance broking business is concerned. But it was also excited because of the simple reason that the company is adding a new leg of business as far as its growth going forward in the next 2 to 3 years is concerned. Do remember, it's an in-principle approval. Of course, the business will only be allowed to start once a final approval comes from the regulator. But I spoke about the size of business. Just in India, the total reinsurance market size in FY23 was 54,678 crore rupees. Out of his GIC-RE had a major share, and foreign reinsurance branches had also some bit of share out of this total market. Now for PB Fintech as a broker, it will be able to address this over 50,000 crore market, which excited the stock today. A major part of the business as far as insurance broking is concerned comes from two different verticals, that is property and liability insurance.
Okay, all right, got that. Thanks very much, Yash, for the details over there. So that's PB Fintech also making it to the headlines. Let's move to another one. And this is Dr. Reddy's. And the stock rallied about 1%. As CNBC-TV18 has learned that the company could be in the fray to acquire Novartis AG's stake in the Indian-listed subsidiary, Novartis India. That stock, by the way, was also up almost 7% today. So this is a story that Vivek brought to us first. He's been picking up some of these inputs from the street, and he has more details to share. Vivek, fill us in.
Well, absolutely right. So the two stocks that you mentioned were in focus today, Dr. Reddy's as well as Novartis. The BSE listed Novartis India is the one that we are talking about. So as per our sources, we understand that Dr. Reddy's is leading the race and is quite serious in terms of acquiring the entire little over 70% stake that Novartis AG, the MNC, holds in Novartis India. We also understand that in order to get the complete control, Dr. Reddy's is willing to give a slight premium to the current market price in order to get the complete control over the BSE listed Novartis India. Now we also understand from our sources that Dr. Reddy's, has had success in the past in terms of having a strategic distribution tie-up for some of the portfolio and some of the brands of Novartis in the past. And this is another reason why Dr. Reddy's is quite serious in terms of pursuing this particular acquisition. We reached out to Dr. Reddy. Dr. Reddy said that at this point of time they don't want to comment, and to the exchanges they said that there are no developments till now that require any that requires them to go ahead and make a disclosure. We also reached out to Novartis. Novartis said that yes, the Novartis AG is looking to go ahead and review its stake in Novartis India, but they also mentioned that at this point of time they haven't yet made a decision as to who exactly would be buyer of this particular stake. Now, Nomura today reacted to this particular news break from us. Nomura says that synergy benefits are there as far as Dr. Reddy is concerned. In fact, they believe that Dr. Reddy could be quite aggressive in pursuing this particular acquisition. They also say, while valuation is high, they believe that value accretion too could be quite good. And at 6.5 times EV to sales, they believe that while the valuation could be high, they believe it would be a good fit as far as Dr. Reddy is concerned.
Okay, all right, got that, Vivek. Thank you very much for all the details there on that exclusive story. Well, with that, let's go back to our experts. Sudip, let me toss, some of these stocks in focus to you. In particular, perhaps PB Fintech. I mean, that one, or even if you want to offer a comment on Dr. Reddy's, do share your thoughts, please.
So the PB Fintech is an interesting story. I think insurance distribution has significant potential, and there's absolutely no doubt about it that the model they have is definitely going to reap good rewards, and that's happening. The scale is picking up, and operationally they're becoming more and more efficient. They are definitely going to be a formidable force. This reinsurance bit, I kind of don't fully agree with this excitement the market has shown. The stock is a good stock and it's worth acquiring, that I believe, but not because of this reinsurance news. I think it's an in-principle approval, but even assuming the final approval comes, I think reinsurance is a completely different business. It's a B2B kind of a business, whereas they have been in B2C predominantly. Through a platform, they are selling insurance to retail individuals. That's the business PB Fintech has been doing. Whereas reinsurance is a business to business. They have to negotiate with businesses and then negotiate with insurers. So it's a completely different business. This cannot be, and most probably would not be done online. So this is going to be a completely different vertical as far as PB Fintech is concerned. We'll have to wait and watch and see how things pan out. There are many reinsurance brokers in India, pretty much all of them offline. Let's see whether PB Fintech can do something, but it's premature at this stage.
Sudip, just a quick word. MRPL, many of our viewers would be wondering what's going on. I mean, I think 3 days back was at, 180 or something, and it's gone up 100 rupees in 4 days flat. Is anything changed here? You tracking it, Sudip?
We hear a lot of rumors of some corporate structuring, some something happening with one of the larger PSU oil companies. Not sure about that, but that is the news going on in the market. Of course, performance has been good, but that doesn't warrant this kind of move over the last few days.
Shilpa, 30 seconds. Any stocks on your radar as we come back tomorrow?
I believe, I would like to highlight Titan here. Titan today, has given a breakout just above 36.80. So if this move in future, and the levels are for futures, of course, I believe, this move here above 36.80, sustenance can see a very sharp move towards 3800 to 3850 in a couple of sessions. So Titan, one stock I would ask everybody to keep on radar for tomorrow.
All right, Shilpa and Sudip, great speaking with both of you here on Markets Forward. Appreciate your time here and speak to you soon again. Thank you. We'll come back after a quick break. Corporate voices of the day and events to watch coming up. Okay, welcome back. You're with us here on Markets Forward. Let's get you to the top corporate voices that we heard through the course of the day. And first up, we want to talk about Nalco. Actually, the Nalco management spoke after many months. It's a rarity to get them on the air. The numbers for the third quarter were strong. So Mr. Sridhar Patra, who's the CMD of the company, said that they aim to ramp up the aluminum production from they aim to ramp up the captive coal production to 40 lakh tons by FY25. At 40 lakh tons, the captive coal production would account for almost about 60% of the company's coal needs by FY25, and that's going to be a big boost in terms of cost efficiency and cost competitiveness. The management also clarified that the company is not on the block for any sort of divestment that they are aware of.
Okay, that was Nalco. Let's talk about Skipper, which reported a very good set of numbers for the quarter gone by. Director Sharan Bansal said that the company expects to end FY24 with a revenue of around 2,900 to 3,000 crore rupees. The company has guided for a 25% compounded growth over the next couple of years. Quess Corp was also in focus after it announced a three-way demerger. Chairman Ajit Isaac said that there is a 100 basis points improvement opportunity in the Blue Spring business. He also believes that the Digitide business will grow rapidly. He also expects the workforce management business margin to improve 20 to 40 basis points going forward.
All right, so that's basically some corporate commentary that we got through the course of the day. But before we wrap, as always, let's get you some key events to watch out for. US is out, of course, for a holiday, but Ekta is standing by with what else? Ekta.
Thanks for that. Well, we do have results from back home, ABB, India, Elantis, Beck, which will be releasing their numbers. We have the 36nd edition of the NASSCOM Technology and Leadership Forum in Mumbai as well. HDFC Life will be presenting at the Kotak Annual India Investor Conference. In fact, we do have a couple of conferences which are taking place tomorrow. We have the Kotak Chasing Growth 2024 conference, the likes of Wipro, Jupiter Lifeline, Car Trade, Concord Bio will be there. Antiques 9th flagship investor conference, where Rallis, JB Chemical, Sun Pharma will be there. In terms of global data, Japanese export-import trade balance data, US Red Book Index, US 53 weeks, 3-month, 6-month bill auction, Canadian CPI, Hong Kong unemployment data, Eurozone current account data, and construction output.
Okay, well, that's quite a bit. Ekta, thanks very much for that. So also data, even though US markets are not going to be trading, and we're going to come back with without that. But of course, the rest of the Asia will be trading. And we, of course, here, so we will see if the market can recover some of the last 60 minutes of losses and build on, the all-time highs that we saw.
Well, given the momentum, anything is possible these days. So we'll see you with all that action tomorrow morning. For now, thank you very much for being with us. All the news and updates continue after this quick break.